Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. This is part 2 of a video series I'm doing about this, which is my compact survival kit. So in the first video, I gave the rundown of all the gear that's in this kit. If you haven't seen that video, I would pause this one, go down to the description section and click on the link so you understand what's actually in the kit. And now in this video, what we're gonna do is put this kit into use. We'll see how the different gear works out for me. So the scenario we're playing out is maybe I'm out in the woods and I got lost. Maybe I was hunting or hiking, and the sun is going to be going down and it's going to be getting colder at night. And so how would I use this kit to set up basically a shelter, a location to stay, and maybe to last 24 hours or 48 hours? We're going to use the different items in this kit and show you how I would apply them. And then you can figure out if this kit or the items in it fit into your setups and systems when it comes to being prepared for a survival scenario. So first thing I'm going to do as soon as I'm lost is I'm going to try to get someone to come and find me, right? So I've got the whistle, it's around my neck. I'll be regularly stopping and blowing the signal of SOS. So, you know, just every once in a while, pause, see if I can blow the whistle and anybody comes and finds me. Again, in this scenario, we're going to play it out that no one's going to find me, so I've got to get my shelter and fire started. But this is the first place to go. So I'm putting this around my neck and every once in a while stopping and blowing the SOS signal and then getting back to work. So you can see I've got this tree right here and then another one right there behind me. That'll allow me to put a beam across between those two things and eventually put a shelter up there. The ground here is a little bit more free of snow, though there is snow in other places. And so right here is where I'm going to build my shelter and my fire pit. I live in New Hampshire. It's less than 30 degrees. It's probably 27 or 28 degrees right now. For me, in a survival scenario, the first thing I want to go to in most cases is going to be fire. Now, obviously, if it's raining, I'm going to move towards shelter. But since the sky is clear right now, I'm going to move towards making a fire, getting a base going so I can always kind of huddle around it and warm up, and then I can continue on with other projects. But let me show you how I would start out with fire, and then we'll move on to some of the other aspects of survival. One of the realities of being in New Hampshire is that there's a lot of rocks around, but in the winter, when it's freezing, a lot of the rocks are frozen into the ground. So I got a few rocks right there. That's going to be where my fire pit is going to go. My shelter is going to go back behind there. I can add more rocks later, but right now I am chilly already. So I'm going to get a fire started. Then I can start collecting wood, building my shelter, and work on other tasks. I do have things in the kit to start a fire, but this is a cedar tree, and so I'm going to get some of the bark using my very compact Tom Brown Tracker 4 here. Here's some of the bark harvested with the Tracker 4. So both these items are from procurement. I've got some fire strip roll and then some of their tinder. And then we've got an Exotech fire steel and then the Titan light. Because the weather is fine now, I don't have any rain that's forecasted. The sky looks clear. I'm actually going to use some of this and the fire steel just to show you what that looks like. But good to have an additional 2 options, certainly. All right, let me show you the fire lay that I've set up, and then we're going to get this thing started. So here's a look at the fire lay. Obviously, you can see it's kind of a teepee style, lots of small branches. There's a lot of hemlock and pine around here, which is good because that'll burn nicely. All right, so you can see I put this on the leaf, and then I'm going to spark this and then pick it up and put it inside. I've never used one of these poly strikers before, so let's see how this guy works. I haven't taken the striker off. We'll try it without doing that, and then if it's too clumsy, I'll try it with taking the striker off. Too awkward with the cord, so we're going to try it without the cord now, see if it's easier. There we go. Little fireworks show for us. All right, we got our fire going. I've got a little stash of maybe some medium-sized wood there and then some smaller wood over here. And we'll get this fire so it's a little bit more stable, then we'll move on to shelter. So one tip I want to share with you is keep your gear in your kit or on your person, like zippered in a pocket. It's really easy to put something down and then to start moving around and then you forget where it is. So everything I have for my kit is either here, it's zippered in my pocket, or it's back in the actual kit. So just don't lose your stuff, because then all of a sudden the few items you have start disappearing around camp, especially when nighttime falls. It's hard to find stuff in the dark, obviously. All right, so I've got my fire going. I'm gonna work on a shelter now. I showed you the 2 trees that I'm gonna run a ridgepole between. What I'm gonna do is put a ridgepole basically between the trees and then put a Y-stick to kind of jam it into place. Then when we have that cross beam, I'm gonna put some beams down the back, and then we'll put out our emergency blanket. Now, some people prefer to have an emergency blanket and actually, wrap it around yourself for warmth, which is fine. It definitely makes a difference. This, for me, I'm thinking to myself, I want to have shelter, right? I don't have anything else at this point for shelter. You can make natural shelter. It takes a long time to do that. So worst case scenario is that if I do want to take it down and then wrap it around myself later, I can, if there's no rain or snow or anything like that. But at least if I get this up, I've got some sort of shelter in case weather comes. Here's a quick tip for selecting a location for your shelter and your fire. So I use the words up, down, out. So look up. Are there widowmakers, big branches that could fall out of a tree and hurt you or kill you? Are you near a cliff? Could rocks be falling off the cliff and hurt you? Look down. Are you setting up on maybe like where an ant's nest is, where a bee's nest is? Are you setting up in a location where it's going to flood if it rains? So up, down, and then look out. Just be aware of the dangers and also the resources around you. There may be great resources if you moved 100 yards to your west. Well, then maybe that's a better location to set up your shelter. Or are there dangers in the immediate area? Maybe you should move. So up, down, and out. That was easy to do. All the pieces fit together nicely. Now I'm gonna run some poles down the back to give some structure, and then we'll get that emergency blanket out and put it out as, a very lightweight, but nonetheless kind of a tarp and the roof to our shelter. Just a quick look here at the skeleton structure that I've built. Now, one of the key things about this structure is if I make it too big, I'm going to lose my body heat, the heat that's going to come in from the fire. So I want to make it as compact as I can, while at the same time, I want it steep enough to keep rain off me if it starts to rain. Now we'll get out the Mylar blanket, we'll put it on top of the skeleton, and then we'll put some more wood on top of that so that the Mylar blanket doesn't blow away. All right, here's a look at my very basic setup. I've got my fire going. I've got a little bit of firewood stacked up on the sides. I've got my Mylar blanket laid out. It will keep rain out. You can see it will blow a little bit there in the breeze, but in general, it's weighted down enough in the back that it's not going to fly away. So as I said, we've got the basics covered. Fire in front of me, a small, simple shelter over me to keep the rain or the snow off if it starts to precipitate. It's not perfect. The fire's not huge, but it's enough to move me in the direction of survival. So I'm in a deciduous forest here. There are quite a few thorn bushes here as well, so I've stuck myself a couple times in the process of getting wood and doing a couple different things to create my shelter location here. And so I'm glad I've got some of that duct tape, because now I can cover up some of those small cuts, just so they're not, you don't have to keep wiping them off and there's not blood on my hands and things like that. So just a little addition like duct tape in this situation is going to help with covering up those wounds. What I can tell you now is I'm sitting on the cold earth, and just by conduction I'm losing all this heat. So I'm going to grab a bunch of these leaves and start throwing them into the shelter just to get me up off the ground a little bit. One thing that's often underestimated in the winter is dehydration. Just because you're not sweating doesn't mean you're not losing water. So there's a pond not too far away from here. I'm gonna grab the Sawyer water filter, go over there and get a big drink of water. Now, I don't want to drink so much water that's cold that's gonna make me cold, but I want to drink enough that as much as I can, I'm gonna fill my belly up and also just get that water in me so that I don't get dehydrated. All right, so I put the straw on and broke through the ice. We're gonna have a sip of water. Make sure if you use one of these, you have the flow going the proper way. So the water is coming from there through the straw this way, and there's an arrow that says flow this way. So take the little cap off here and have a drink. Now, as you saw, I broke through the ice. So what I can do is I can bring some of this ice and throw it into the little plastic bag I have, and then when that melts, that'll be water that's accessible for me immediately. So here's my bag of ice. Just a reminder, if you do this, you want to make sure you still drink the melted ice through a straw, because since this is essentially pond water just frozen, when it melts, you still want to make sure that you are filtering out any nasties by utilizing the Sawyer water filter. All right, so after my first video, there were a couple recommendations that came in as far as additional gear that people thought I should add to the kit. One was a compass, so I've done that. I've actually added that to the kit. And then I believe another one was a mirror. So I did grab a mirror so I could use it as a signaling device. And the tiny survival guide, which again, you know, for education and learning in a survival situation, but more so to kind of keep my brain active so I don't sit and think about the fact that I'm lost or hurt in the woods. The tiny survival guide fits a very small mirror nicely. I honestly can't remember if this one that I have came with it or not, but you can see it slides right in there. So an easy way to carry a mirror is put it in your tiny survival guide. So at this point, my number one priority is to keep signaling and listening to see if there's anybody out there in the woods who could come find me and help me. I definitely want to get a ton of firewood. I'm not going to show you collecting a ton of firewood on video because it's kind of boring, but in the evening, it's going to get cold really quick. I would probably get 10 to 15 times the amount of firewood I have right here in the camp right now, because you burn through it quickly, especially in these woods because it's pine and that's a soft wood. So firewood, continue to improve my shelter, and continue listening and whistling that whistle and just paying attention to see if I can get rescued by somebody who may be in the area. After that, I'm going to hunker down and stay in the shelter for the evening. It's going to be cold and uncomfortable, but better than being out and totally exposed, better than having no fire. Now, in my next video, which I plan on this being a 2-part series, but this is going to be a 3-part series, basically some reminders about the importance of different things and what I've learned from going through this scenario again. Every time I go through survival training or survival scenario, teach a class with a group of people, I always learn new things. And so I want to share some of those insights with you in part 3 of this video based on the compact survival kit. But let's hear your thoughts and your feedback on this video and the kit as well. And we'll get that conversation started in the comment section. All right, guys, thanks as always for checking out the videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram, Tumblr, and Vero as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.